Welcome to the beautiful jungle of Penang Hill. Have you had it before when God is teaching you a lesson and you know He's trying to teach you something, and it's not just a head lesson, it's a lesson that you need to learn in your heart. It's an area of your character that God is working on. If you've not, then I'd encourage you to pray for it. But if you have had that experience where you've just know that God's trying to teach you something, is trying to accomplish something in you, then I've got an encouragement for you today. Maybe God's teaching you something at the moment. We often think of discipline as something that comes about when we do something wrong. In other words, I may make a mistake, I sin, I get something wrong, so God disciplines me to punish me for that. But very often, discipline is about training. If you think about discipline in the army, for example, soldiers are disciplined to train them for some future state. In other words, discipline is forward thinking, it's proactive, not reactive, and I believe this is true of God's discipline. Now, Hebrews chapter 12, verses 5 to 11 talk about God's discipline, and it says, "Do not regard lightly God's discipline, for He disciplines those He loves." How could we regard God's discipline lightly? Well, I think discipline is a painful thing. It kind of hurts, it's uncomfortable, it's unpleasant. No one enjoys the discipline when it's happening. And we can sometimes look for ways out and try to end it quickly and say, oh God, I know this, I understand it, I don't need this lesson anymore. But don't look for a shortcut out. God's lessons, particularly if He's working on an area of your character, an area of your heart, they're being taught for a reason, they're being taught for a purpose, for a future state that God desires for you. And if you try and escape from that lesson too quickly, maybe it won't take root as deeply as it needs to. I've come to a place where I know that God is working on me and challenging me and disciplining me over certain things in my life. I don't want that to finish a moment too soon. I don't want to be out of God's discipline. I don't want to shortcut out of it. Don't regard His discipline lightly. He's doing it. Why? Because He loves you, and He really does genuinely want the best for you, and it will hurt because we all have these areas of our character which are just in contradiction to God's will. They're in contradiction to the Holy Spirit, and we need to let God completely refine us. We need to let Him get those areas of our lives completely right and completely straight. And I believe if we take this view of God's discipline, if we learn to love it and learn to embrace it, God will do great things for us. God can accomplish so much in our lives if we just surrender fully to Him, not just in the good and nice parts of the Christian faith, but also in the gritty discipline, because God is doing it through complete love for His glory and in our absolute best interests.